Dave with Mile High Campers coming back at you again with another video. In this video, I'm going to go over all of the troubleshooting steps I did to resolve the starting system fault message I was getting on my 2015 F-250. You're going to want to watch this video in its entirety because there are several different possibilities that could have solved this issue. Even though I ruled out many possible solutions, one of the solutions may work for you in your case. But if you want to jump forward in the video, I will put the time here where I explain what the exact fix was in my case. All right, let's get into it. So the symptoms I was experiencing, I would put the key in the ignition and I would hear the chimes like I'm supposed to. I would turn the key, but I was seeing a starting system fault in the message center. And when I turned the key all the way to start the vehicle, I was getting a no crank, no start. Nothing. Not even any clicking like the battery was low. With that said, I hooked the scanner up to the truck, but I was getting no DTC codes back. From the initial scan, it was looking like there were no issues. So I went straight to Google and started looking for possible fixes for a starting system fault. I was seeing lots of fixes that had to do with bad fuses or bad relays. So I started with the fuses in the engine compartment located on the driver's side. To get the cover off, you just simply, there's a tab here and a tab here. You just pinch them in and it'll pull right off. I checked the following fuses. Position 33, vehicle power 1. Position 34, vehicle power 2. Position 35, vehicle power 3. Position 36, vehicle power 4. Position 45, run start. Position 52, PCM run start. Position 66, fuel pump. Position 72, PCM. Position 89, starter motor. All of the fuses were good in my case. Next, it was time to check out the relays. You could potentially swap out the relays to test them, but I chose to go ahead and just replace them. Position 38, PCM relay. Position 48, run start relay. Position 101, starter relay. Unfortunately, in my situation, after replacing these relays, it still did not fix the problem. Next, it was time to look at the fuse panel inside the cab located on the passenger side behind the kick panel. Pull the tab on the kick panel to remove it, which will then reveal the fuse panel, and then remove the cover to access the fuses. Position 18, PCM and PATS system. Position 24, remote keyless entry. Position 28, ignition switch. And once again, in my situation, all the fuses were good. Next, I wanted to check the starter. First, I checked to make sure the constant power wire on the starter was getting power. I took a voltmeter and put the negative terminal on the starter's ground connection and the positive from the meter to the constant on the starter, and I was seeing 12 volts. So my constant was good. Next, I kept the negative from the meter on the ground and the positive from the meter to the power wire from the start relay. And then I had someone turn the key as if to start the truck, and I saw no volts on the meter. Therefore, it was clear we were not getting power from the key to the starter. Next, I did something that may not be the best thing to do, so I do not advise doing what I did. I'm just sharing what I did. So if you do this, do it at your own risk. There may be a better way to do it, and if you know that way, please share it in the comments below. I took a wire and touched it to the constant on the starter. Then I took the other end of the wire and touched it to the power wire coming from the key. When I did that, the engine started to crank, so the starter was working. So I was able to rule the starter out as being the problem. But again, this way may cause damage, so please, if you decide to do this, do it at your own risk, and just know you're taking the responsibility for whatever happens. Next, with the key in the on position, my foot on the brake, and the parking brake set, I wanted to make sure all the lights on the dash would match as I shifted through the gears. Started in park, then I shifted to reverse. I also made sure the reverse lights were coming on when the gear was in reverse. Neutral, drive, manual, second, first. So all the gears were reporting correctly on the dash as I shifted through the gears. Once again, with foot on the brake and the parking brake engaged, I tried to start the truck in neutral and the truck would not start. No crank, no start. With the gear shifting troubleshooting complete, I was fairly confident that the issue was not with the neutral safety switch, aka the range selector. So I was back to square one. I decided to try the scanner one more time. So as you can see, when you first hook up the scanner, it doesn't come back with any global codes. So what I had to do to find out what these codes were, I had to go into here to System, and then if you scroll down, you can do an all module scan. So I did that, confirm the vehicle, and then I let this scan run, and it takes a few minutes. Once the scan is complete, you can go ahead and scroll through to find out what your DTCs are. As you can see, we've got one there on the BCM. Let's go ahead and scroll through them all. And as you can see, we only have one, and it's on the BCM. So let me go back up to the BCM. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter to view it, and that's when we get the code. When I did the initial all module scan, I was actually getting back 4 DTC codes on the BCM. I'll explain later in the video why my demonstration I'm only getting 1 DTC, but for now let's go over the DTC codes I was getting. Code B10DA-51 PATS target identifier not programmed. Code B10D8-00 PATS key less than minimum programmed. Code B10D7-87 PATS key missing message. Code B10D7-51 PATS key not programmed. All the codes were definitely pointing to the passive anti-theft system. But to make matters even more confusing, my key fob was working fine. It was clear I did not have the scanner or the computer to fix the problem. With that said, I called around to a few mom and pop auto shops to see if they could fix it. But the answer I kept getting was no, you need to call a locksmith. Long story short, I called a locksmith to come out. I was quoted $135 to come out and to reprogram my 2 keys. But as luck would have it, the locksmith was unable to reprogram my keys and told me that the chips were bad in my keys and I would need 2 new keys. So the locksmith cut 2 new basic keys and reprogrammed them, but the truck still would not start. The locksmith claimed that the keys were programmed, and he claimed he did all that he could and said it must be a mechanical issue, and he was not a mechanic, and he charged me $300 for the new keys and left. After the locksmith left, I was feeling a bit ripped off, but curiosity got the best of me, so I did an all-module scan with the scanner again, but this time all the codes cleared except for one code, which was the B10DA-51 code, PATS target identifier not programmed. Therefore, it did appear that the codes related to the keys were resolved. After doing some more Google searching, it was sounding like this code was suggesting that the BCM was not communicating with the PCM, which basically meant either the BCM was bad or that the BCM needed to be reprogrammed. So as a last resort, I contacted my local Ford dealer, and the service rep that I spoke with was fairly confident that the BCM just needed to be reprogrammed based on all the troubleshooting information that I told him. With that said, I called my insurance company and was able to use my roadside assistance coverage to have my truck towed to the dealership. The service department at Philong Ford was not only able to reprogram the BCM, but they were able to reprogram my old keys and the 2 new keys and got me in and out quickly with no BS or trying to upsell me on more services for a total of $225. Needless to say, I was pleasantly surprised with this excellent customer service at a dealership. Here's how the repair worked. The dealership performed a parameter reset on the BCM using their computer. After the parameter reset was complete, they were then able to reprogram all 4 keys. This is why the locksmith was unable to get the keys to work, because the BCM parameter reset had to be done first. The keys were recognized when the locksmith programmed them, but the BCM was not communicating with the PCM, therefore the keys would never work, no matter what, until the communication was reestablished between the BCM and the PCM. So lesson learned, if you call a locksmith, make sure they can perform a BCM parameter reset. If you are getting the B10DA-51 target identifier not program code along with the key related codes. And in the end, it may just be best to go to the local dealership. Anyway, guys, that was a mouthful, but I wanted to share all the steps I did in hopes it will help somebody out there experiencing this problem. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. Don't forget to hit that like button, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.